Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSIDFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your Smuggler 31. We have Dover this week, Monster Mile. That's why I have the concrete monster dude behind me. The steep track, um, mile track, so 400 laps because 400. So a lot of Dominator points up for grabs here and fast lap. And man, this is a tough one because there's so much place differential. It was just such a bizarre practice session today. It was so cold that the rubber wasn't going down the track. It was falling off the tires, it beating up. It was not as bad as Bristol was. So hopefully, like, they don't need to like bring out extra sets of tires and things like that. Everybody's masticating that when they actually race tomorrow afternoon, the temperatures will be warm enough that the rubber will come off like it did in Xfinity, and that these tires won't start cording, and there won't be a huge issue. That it will be a normal race. That there will be some fall off. There will be opportunity to pass, and it will be hopefully outstanding and exciting. Xfinity kind of was. Hopefully, weather doesn't mess it up. So we have a bunch of cautions, but we'll see what happens. In Xfinity, even after the race ended, like I played $100 today on it, and when they first threw the caution flag for weather and Custer thought he won, I was winning like 112. So like, okay, so I had like $212. So like my initial investment, and then 112 in profit. So like, oh, cool. So then like things start happening and they keep on going. And so then I'm down to only winning like $12, so which would be like losing $88. And then like so then the race ends, and then I was like, I think I lost like 30 some dollars. And then there's no way that Creed finished second. I don't know why they had that. And then they end up like doing a change. So then I'm like winning $172. And then it was back down to, it's like, long story short, I end up losing $4. It was the most tilting like after, because every time I check back, like there'd be another scoring correction, and then I was like watching the stock market. So, but anyways, uh, so let's start here. So Kyle Busch, he's been really good at this track. I know he hasn't been having a good season, but the RCR cars are very strong up there in Xfinity. I think the program's really good here, straight across the board. So I think he can go out there and dominate early. The only thing that worries me is we'll have to like watch with weather and with like the tire situation. Is NASCAR going to put a competition caution out there? If they do, that could be detrimental to Kyle Busch being a long-term leader. If not, he could go out there and maybe lead the whole stage if he can get out there front. Like clean air is great. Those other ones battling in the pack behind him, it really is hard for them to catch up. However, being only a mile track, you do catch the back of the field, not as fast on some of these short tracks, but it happens. And we saw it to the Xfinity. I think it was to the point where like the 13th and 14th car was like fighting to stay on the lead lap towards the end. So it's not uncommon to see only maybe a dozen cars finish on the lead lap, and a lot of them one lap down, and then you know from 20th on back like 2, 3, 4 laps down. So there is that danger, but it's not as dangerous as like you know some of the really short tracks out there. So Bush, I think, is one that I can actually consider in cash. That's why he's got the purple dom and not the orange dominator. And he gives you kind of a price break. But most of the ones that we would normally put as dominators that would be up over like the 10K range or in the high 9K range actually have more place differential plays than dominator plays, but they could be second dominators down the road. Because if, and I always say this, if you can't contend for stage points, you might as well pit early and then get out there and try to hold track position. And I remember if Cole Custer did that, but there were a couple people that did that in the Xfinity race, and they were out there and they were able to kind of hold on to it. So I think you'll definitely see that strategy come up. Blaney, I think, is in play also if he can get past Bush. So I consider him a dominator, and Byron's been solid here also in all the 100 stars of Fed speed here. So I think any one of these three can go out there and be the first Dominator, second Dominator. Would I play more than one in the same lineup? Not in cash, maybe in GPP builds if you're doing 20 max to mix them in. I'm okay with that. I don't think I'd play all three of them in there. I would think I would spread it out with, and maybe if I'm doing that, put one of the, and I don't have too many Dominators marked just because, like I said, as I go through this, there's a lot of drivers that are back in the pack that could be the second or third Dominator once they get a chance to move up. And again, it was screwy weather conditions and just the way that NASCAR does the qualifying with the groups and stuff. And just some people getting loose on the track. And without that rubber there, like it's almost like driving on dirt or ice or something. So, that probably favors like Larson and some of the other ones who had Stewart and Jessica Friesen aren't in this, but I think like for what they said tomorrow, it shouldn't be like that. But those were the conditions that they faced today, and a lot of people got loose and really didn't do well in qualifying last because of it. So that's why they're further on down the grid. Reddick, once the rubber gets up there in a second groove, he's one that likes to ride high and make it work. You can get a lot of momentum there. Allgaier was doing it today. So I think Reddick is definitely in play as an upside dominator. Noah Gragson, I think he'll have a solid day, maybe a top 10 day. I don't see him leading the race. So that's why I got to put him as a fade. You can consider him a GPP. I don't think I can do it as an upside dominator, but so he's a fade for me. Hamlin, kind of a shocker. He's up here. He usually doesn't qualify that well. He usually qualifies down the teens. He usually doesn't like to show his cards in practice. So, um, don't know what's happening here. He did actually look decent in practice. He did qualify pretty well. So I think he can be an upside dominator. He'll have high ownership because his body of work lately it just merits that. So I'm good with him if you want to use him as an upside dominator. Chase Briscoe and Michael McDowell, I think these guys are both fades. Good job qualifying in the top 10, but I just don't think you have enough to stay up there with everybody else. So you're gonna fall back, so I'm not gonna be playing you. Alex Bowman, I think he's got a lot of floor here. He's been very solid at Dover. So, does he have the upside to go lead laps? I don't think so. But I think he's solid enough in cash to get good finishing position, maybe a little place differential to be okay. And I think he's been in multiple optimal lineups too, over the last couple of years. So, he's one that I feel solid in playing as cash. Again, I don't know if I can play him as a dominator. I'm playing him more for probably he's an outstanding play on FanDuel where you're really looking for finishing position up here. Yeah, so pretty good for that. AJ Allmendinger, a colleague, it's not a road course. So I just no interest in him. Austin Cindric, again, good qualifying is high up, but it's just been abysmal this season. And if he didn't have a family connection to Penske, I don't see how he would be able to keep this ride. So there's so many others that are looking for opportunities. So we'll see what happens there. But I just don't think that he's going to really be relevant in this race here. And look at his price point. He's down to 5,700. Like Michael McDowell and Noah Gragson and Benthouse and Carson Hocevar is a rookie. The corpse of Jimmy Johnson that's still out there racing. I could say that he was one of my favorite drivers, so I'm not a Jimmy Johnson hater. But look at like all these people that are John Hunter Nemechek are more expensive than Austin Cindric. It's just um, you know, how far he's fallen from that first race where he like Xfinity Series, he was dominant and he moved up, and it was just a shock that he took over this ride. And then he went out and won the Daytona 500. Like, wow, this kid's special. And then it just kept on spiraling. So hopefully he'll get back on track. I don't dislike him as driver, but maybe he needs to Cole Custer go and spend a little bit more time down. It's going to bring Custer back up for this ride and see what happens. Josh Berry, Stuart Haas, he ran really well here when he filled in for, can't remember if it was when he was filling for Elliott or if he was filling for Byron, or not Byron, for Bowman. Both of them he filled in last year at some point. So, but I just remember he ran pretty well, and he ran well here. I know he has a win here in Xfinity, and I think another top five. So a good track for him. GPP, I can't do his cash. I don't see him as Dominator, but I think the team, the car, the whole package is solid. That he's definitely a top 15 driver, maybe get up in the top 10. So GPP for me. Logano, he's one that the zigs when everybody else zags, the alternate pit strategy and stuff. We'll try different things to try to get the track position. So I assume as an upside dominator. I could see him being like the second or third dominator. I don't think he's going to lead the most laps in the race, but I do think he probably will lead at some point in the race. Hemrick, again, really congratulations for qualifying this far forward. In a quality car, you've not been great this year, or you've not even been good this year. You've not even been adequate this year. You have been pretty bad this year. So, Fade probably will finish in the 30s and lose you about 16, 17 place differential points. Martin Truex Jr., upside dominator. I think it'll be highly owned, but just the pricing prohibits like putting in a build for like $200 more. You can get Larson starting further back, who's just a much better driver at this course. So I think again he'll be popular, but I don't know if I'll be pulling trigger into cash here, but definitely consider it in GPPs in my 20x builds. Overall, also not a great check for him. GPP. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has been solid here. I started a little bit further forward than I'm comfortable with, so he's GPP. Busher has been solid here, so Roush Fenway has been okay. So I think I give them the cash tag there. And the Gibbs cars have been fast all year. So tie down here, I think, is more an indictment on the conditions for practice and qualifying more than that this is what type of a driver he is. I definitely has top 10 upside. He could lead or win this race. I just didn't feel comfortable putting the Dominator tag on him, but I think he's definitely solid for a cash play if you land in that 8,000 mid range. Carson Hocevar, having a good season here. I like him. I think he's sneaky as a GPP. It's kind of like a solid value play here. Should be able to kind of finish where he starts, and that's what you want at 6K. And that's good finishing position for 20. If he goes absolutely nowhere and does nothing else and finishes 20th, that's 23 DK points. So I mean, it's a decent day for him. He averages 27, so it should get a little bit more. So that's what maybe a couple place differential points because he should get more if he moves up a couple spots. So GPP, like it, don't love it, not a priority, but I think he's someone that I definitely consider. Kyle Larson, tough decision here. I think a lot of people are going to make him prime play just because he's Kyle Larson. He's been dominant here. There's place differential. He's one that can go up and lead the race, win the race. I'll let you make that decision. I'm not cornering him at 11.5 because he's got to do a lot. I think he'll probably be more underweight on him than most will be. But I'm not saying don't play in cash. I'm not saying don't make him a prime player yourself. I think I've got Ross Chastain as a prime player. To me, Chastain has finished really well here at this track, and I think that it's a very similar play, but you're saving $1,300 here. If you want to take the prime tag off of Chastain and put on Larson, I'm perfectly fine with that. But I'm going with Chastain just because I think it's almost the same play, but the savings I'm getting on it is huge, and it really helps me in the rest of my lineup. So that's why I'm going the prime play there. Austin Dillon, Austin Cindric 2.0 here. The Childress cars have been really good, like I said, but he hasn't like before the next gen car he was, but he's about average, like just sniffing the top 20 on most of the steep tracks he's run in next gen cars. So I don't think I really see the upside here. I just didn't throw the fade on him because again, Childress, I've liked the program uh, here and how they've done this weekend. So it's interesting, but I don't think that I'm going to probably have any exposure to him unless it's like last guy into a lineup if I end up in that price range. But yeah, I probably just drop 100, and Daniel Suarez is such a better play, and I'll just get there in a second. Brad Keselowski, probably going to be shocked. Like, kind of price in no man's land, and probably everybody's going to go stars and clubs to try to get like a Byron and Larson and a three kings lineup where you have like three drivers over 10K and then trying to jam in value. So you're not going to get a Brad Keselowski in that build. But I love Brad Keselowski here. I know he stated a couple weeks ago that these Fords are not where they need to be, and he's frustrated because he's part of the ownership for the team. So they should be he should be better as a driver, but he also should be better as an owner, putting his team in faster cars. And they're not where Toyota is, straight across the board. They're not where Hendrick is. But Keselowski, for this one, said that they went out and they were going to set up the car for tomorrow, not for today's conditions. So they knew it was going to be slower. They knew it was going to respond. Some of the proof in the pudding is that the tires weren't as corded. And he ran really well at Bristol and was able in that mess with tires to be competitive and to be up there challenging for the lead in a very challenging uh, time when people were really struggling with the tires, but he was able to save them. And I think that if it does become an issue, I really like that. I do like the fact that they had the foresight to think about, let's make sure that we're set up for the conditions tomorrow and not here. So I think he'll be able to move up through the field and that he will be very successful. That's why I have him as a prime play. Coil of Joy, like him here, 25. This is where you really want to play him, but he hasn't been great on steep tracks. So GPP for me. Harrison Burton, as I'm here throwing shade on Austin Dillon and um, Austin Cindric. Like Burton, I think he's been optimal a couple times here, but like how far has he fallen? He's $100 more than Cas Gralla. Daniel Hemrick is more expensive than him. He's the second cheapest driver. So this would the program is just fallen away. I just don't know if it's the driver, if it's the team, if it's a combination of both. I think I read someplace that they had some like younger people in the organization starting to work with it to, I don't know if they're trying to reinvigorate, bring in more energy, but there may be a learning curve there. I don't know. I don't even think that I know they had the affiliation with Penske for years. It was almost like the fourth Penske car, but now it seems like Penske is like throwing more of the resources to front row in that alliance there than they are the Wood brothers. So uh, I don't know. But long story short here, I think you can consider him in a GPP just because he has been serviceable here. He has been playable here in the circumstance, and he's like the second cheapest driver. And I'm not playing Gralla. I'll get to that in a second. So if you are trying to do the three king build and you need Harrison Burton in your lineup to make it work, throw open your mouth a little bit and then take breath mint, move on. But it can work out for you. I don't say it's a horrible play. Jimmy Johnson. So Jimmy Johnson is in a legacy car. Eric Jones, unfortunately, in a Talladega in Iraq, got hurt, and I don't think he broke something in his back, so he's going to be out for a couple weeks. So Corey Heim gets to come up. I've been raving about Corey Heim all season. I'm super excited about Corey Heim, but we talked about this if you watch any of my videos, and we talked about this in the playoffs, is that teams will sometimes take and move resources more towards who they really want to try to hedge versus keeping their normal cars. So Jimmy Johnson in this legacy program obviously has the third car. He's a part-time driver. He's definitely a Hall of Famer, but he's still out there just, kind of trying to enjoy the sport and stuff, but he just really hasn't been very competitive. And the equipment that they've given him hasn't been very competitive. And I said this before, and you got to kind of take out, I don't think I have one, but maybe, yeah, I think this is it. You take out that, like, if you ever watched the movie Men in Black, where this people see the aliens, and then Tommy Lee Jones or Will Smith has them, go and puts the pen in front of their eyes, and the red light comes on and erases their memory. You have to do it with Jimmy Johnson. Yes, Jimmy Johnson probably has more top tens at this track than, half the bottom of the field combined. Like, he's been dominated here. He's had wins here and stuff. Like, he's been a great driver, but it's not the same situation. But this might be better equipment for him if they did the bait and switch on us and put the 43 as the 84 and the 84 as the 43. And I don't know. He looked good in practice out there. Again, maybe it's just his knowledge of track, or maybe he's got the better equipment. Hands down, John Hunter Nemechek probably has the best car out of the stable here. Um, he's Toyota development, should be a rising star. I'll get to him in a second. But I just hope that they give Kime something competitive, because I noticed his car had an issue in the Xfinity race. He was in the Sam Hunt one, and it broke down, but it wasn't his fault. But I think that he's just an up and coming star. He should be in this legacy car, or in the future should probably be up in a 2311, or maybe when Truex or Hamlin retire in a Gibbs car. So I think there's definitely a lot of future behind. But going back to Jimmy Johnson here, I put the cash tag on him because at 6,200, I wish he was starting a little bit further down, but I think he can hold a top 30. I think he can maybe advance a little bit. I think he's fine there. I like Ryan Preece at 6,400. If you can get the $200 more, better. Here, just from what I've seen, the Stewart Haas cars have been strong, and I think he went out pretty early in practice and didn't have the rubber down, so that kind of put him back here. So I think he has an opportunity to have a stronger finish than Johnson, but I think both of them you can play. Chase Elliott, I think, is going to be super popular too down here. Hendrick's cars have been good. He just got a little bit loose in qualifying and just didn't have the run he wanted to make the lap. But I think he'll be fine here, and he's been very good on steep tracks and should be solid. Not 29th place car, should be up there in the top 15, if not the top 10, and he could be a late dominator also. Todd Gillian's been solid all year, starting 30th. This is exactly where we want him, 5,500. Very solid floor cash play if you're trying to go with a Three Kings lineup. Daniel Suarez is my third prime play here. Can't count. Sorry about that. Lake Trackhouse here. Suarez has been good. Again, just didn't have a great qualifying lap. He's not a 31st place driver. He should be able to get up in the top 20, top 15. Love the place differential. Love the price point, 6,700. I think he'll be very popular. Corey Heim, I think he's a cash play here. I just think there's a lot of pure talent there. And I think that if they give him somewhat of a decent car, I love the throwback paint scheme. It's like a Dollar General car, but it's got the Petty STP, kind of baby blue and red paint scheme on it. It's absolutely a gorgeous car. Maybe I'll throw on the cover here. I haven't decided who I want to do that yet, but I just love that paint scheme on the car. Think it's pretty cool. Excited for him, excited for his future. I will be playing some with him. Christopher Bell. I think a lot of people are going to put him as a prime play here, just like a lock. Christopher Bell has been good at Dover. Christopher Bell when just like Tyler Reddick, when that high line comes in, is able to run that. There's so many things that people are going to throw at me statistically and historically about Christopher Bell, that they're going to tell me that I'm a fool, that I'm putting him as a GPP down here, and that I'm not making him a prime play. I've watched Christopher Bell drive recently. Christopher Bell is about ready to be seated at the table this year with Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, and Harrison Burton. They're going to have a foursome tea party. I just, he has made errors on pit road. Last year was his pit crew was killing him. This year he's killing the team. He gets into wrecks. He just something. I just I want to buy the guy a box of Lucky Charms because it's not like he's doing it on purpose. It's not like he forgot how to drive the car. He is just has this cloud of doom over him for some reason recently. So I can't play him in cash. I again, I would rather take Chastain for $300 more. I know what I'm getting with Chastain. I think there's more upside. I think there's more safety for $300. I know I'm losing the opportunity at 11 place differential points here from where Chastain starts to where Bell starts. But I think where Chastain can get up to and where Bell might end up going and doing, um, I will take it every single day. I'm not telling you don't play Christopher Bell in cash. I'm just saying my recommendation is I feel is a GPP. Actually, he's the first person I'm putting in my GPP lineup. I guarantee it. I promise you, he's going to be part of the core for GPP because that's what type of play I think it is. I think it's an upside GPP play. I don't think it has the floor just with his basic track record, and that's where I'm going with that. Kaz Grala, no way. Going to a backup car. Uh, so I just can't do that. Justin Haley's been pretty good in this Rick Ware car. Like we said, we speculated that maybe it's like somebody else has prepared the car. There's some like underlining funding or something for that, but he's got no place to go but up here. So it's a really good position. When you start at 36, there's like uh he starts with 5 points there. So there's points baked in. And Zane Smith, turned the car, and he was actually not doing bad in practice, but he spun the car, hit the back of the wall. They said they're not going to the backup car, but I just don't know how damaged this car is. I mean, if they take and they completely try to fix the car and then he's got to start at the back of the field, it doesn't mean anything because they're already starting at the back of the field. It means absolutely nothing. And again, there's like a 4 point built in floor for him just because where he's starting and we don't have 40 cars in here. So, but again, I like Steen Smith. Loved him as a truck driver. I just am kind of afraid of the condition of this car and what happened. I maybe you'll see something where he said, "Oh, good," or they do decide to go to the backup car. Maybe I'll switch it to a GPP, but I think it's going to be a fade for me. So again, how am I approaching this? The primes, I'm taking the place differential. I'm taking Chastain. If you want to change it to Larson, I'm fine with that. Kozlowski, um, and Suarez. I know a lot of people are going to be playing Bell is that prime play there, and then you just got to figure out who the dominators. And that's going to be the tricky part. And I think between Bush, Blaney, and Byron. I think Bush gets out there, but could any of the three could get out there if they get a really good start to the race. And the competition caution, if there is one, could mess things up. And then I think you've got about four other guys that can get up there and lead, and Reddick, Hamlin, Logano, and Truex through different strategies, or once the track starts to come to them. And then you have a bunch of other police differential plays that could be the second or third dominator too, in Elliott, in Chastain, in Larson, like in the back of the field here. So it should be an interesting race. It should be pretty fun. So hopefully this helped you. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me at MegaRower31 on Twitter, formerly or it's X now, formerly Twitter. If you want more information on FSIDFS, as I've been saying all weekend long in these videos, like we've got soccer again tomorrow. We've got, I think we've been doing a PDA showdown for the match play. We've got NHL playoffs. We got NBA playoffs. We've got Major League Baseball. We've got NASCAR. There's so many things. It's only $6 a day for the VIP package. If, so it's a good time to sign up. Go to description of the video, takes you to the pricing page. Go right in there, gets you in our Discord, and you'll get all the course for the day. So that's what I got for you. And again, hope this race works out. Hope you're profitable, and hope you have a great weekend. So, and if these videos help you, as I always say, like, subscribe to our channel, share with friends. Appreciate watching. Look forward to see you this week for baseball videos coming up. And I'll be back next week I have to look ahead to see where they're going, but I'll be covering it. So hopefully they're not speculation videos. Hopefully we have the data. We've been kind of spoiled recently with that. So good luck in your contest. Continue to have an amazing weekend. You know how to get a hold of me if you have any questions. I'll see you next time.